Alright. Alright, let us know, what's your name, first of all?
My name is Marvin Mayweather.
Oh, yeah. How many felonies you got?
I got 3 felonies.
And how has it bothered you during the time, like you was trying to look for employment? How has it hindered you from gaining employment?
Well, 9 out of 10, most people that goes to employment, 9 out of 10, they don't get a job because you're ex-felon. They don't give you a chance to get a job. They don't give you a chance to get in the door. They don't believe in that it's a second time around when it should be. Most ex-felons have to go get their own tax ID number, start a cleaning company, start their own company, do the things that they need to do to take care of their families. But most people in factories don't want to hire ex-felons because the simple fact they frown on them before they come in the door. You're guilty before you're innocent. You know what I'm saying?
If you could have changed anything, like as far as if you could have run the time and not catch them felonies, what would you want to do?
I would say change that period, that law of asking somebody anyway, do they have a felony? You know what I'm saying? It's just like gay rights. You know what I'm saying? You want to be the equal rights. You want an equal playing field for a job is what you want. Yeah. And being that's happening in the community, people sitting here every day trying to go to work and can't get jobs because they want to ask that you're a criminal. That ought to be cut out, except if it's a violent offender. Then I kind of look different than that. But if it's a non-violent offender, it shouldn't be asked. You know what I'm saying? It should be hush-hush. It shouldn't matter, long as that guy go in there and do the productive job that needs to be done for that company.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, and most people like me that has a 3-time felon. You understand me? Constantly been in trouble when I was younger, and now that I'm not in trouble and I'm not trying to get in trouble, you know, it's hard for me as an old guy to go get a job being an ex-felon. But see, once you begin to learn that the business world is not that hard. And most guys need to understand this thing. It only takes a 1-800 number to get you a tax ID number. Once you get your tax ID number and then you get your insurance from your insurance company, then you become a sole owner business fair. Take $100 and open up an account, and it's just that easy to own your own business.
But what about, like, my thing is too, and that's my part of my whole campaign, but what about other rights, like right to bear arms? You know, just because you're a felon, don't you have the right to protect yourself too?
Well, in a way, you know, I can understand a felon. You know, most guys that go hunting, I can understand them hunting. You understand me? But just carrying a firearm, I don't think nobody ought to be just carrying a firearm on the streets. You know what I'm saying? For the simple fact that it's individuals out here every day that get mad at an individual and he end up pulling out his pistol and hurting someone. You know, but far as going hunting, you know, long time ago when you used to be a felon, you can carry a gun longer than it was 12 barrels more in the back of your trunk. But now they killed all of that too, you know, because of all the killings that's going on and things like that. That killed that, you know. But far as a felony owning a pistol, I don't think it ought to be so. But as far as owning a rifle to go hunting and you want to go hunting, I think I don't see no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going hunting.
But what about, like, I ain't not trying to start a debate, but what about, like, you know, if I own a house and with all these robberies and burglaries going around, you know, someone breaking my house, I want to be able to protect me and my family. Okay, then this is what I'm just saying. Did you just not hear me? Yeah,
Did you not hear me? Yeah. I said it's all right to go hunting for a deer, a rifle. If somebody breaking your house and you got a rifle in your house, what do you think you're gonna do? You're gonna protect your family. Right. Okay. If he touched, that's the law. That's the law. Any person that breaks your bearer in your house is automatically can be dismissed because he has no business in it.
Yeah, but then there's some cases where they may got acquitted for the actual shooting, but they still get charged with having a gun because
the possession of a firearm. Right. But that should have been dropped along with the case. You can't drop one thing and charge me for another. Yeah. It can't be done. That's not even supposed to be done in the court of law. Most Nebraska laws, they see something that they don't like, they make their own laws. Yeah. This is a cattleman state. Yeah. What a cattleman state does is make its own laws. You just follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They make their own laws as they go, as they see what they don't like to prohibit themselves. Just like, for instance, I was sitting in there not too long ago, and I got accused for armed robbery. Right. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The people came and put me all over the news and everything. Come to find out that the gas station attendant gave them the wrong name. But who's justified against that? I mean, when I came to them with the law, it's a law that you can't sue the police officers for doing that to you.
Yeah.
for slandering your name. But if you're a rich person, you can sue them for slandering your name.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what it all boils down. Poverty. That's my thing, I think, because I was just at the gang assessment in Omaha, and that's what they was talking about, the gangs. People don't just run around shooting each other and selling drugs for no reason.
No.
It's a lack of jobs.
It's a lack of jobs. It's a lack of you done made a deal go bad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, don't nobody just shoot you for nothing. You know what I'm saying? You done did something for the guy to shoot you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you out here in society, you know that when a person see you and you done did something to him, either you go the other way or you go towards him and face the consequences.
But my thing is, I want it to be like how you said, erase that whole question, because it's like, what does my criminal history have to do with me be able to do the duty that is needed for me to do in that position?
I feel that. The main thing, I feel that for the simple fact, because if you're guilty, they take it too far.
Yeah.
Just like for driving under revocation, for instance. Let's go there.
Yeah.
You understand me? Or child support. How do you put a man in jail for them many years and he owed child support?
Right.
Why not put that man on the streets and tell him he's got to work, and if he doesn't work, he's going to jail? Give him some kind of senative to sign something up to say, hey, listen here, you need to sign these papers every week. I want to see you looking for a job, and if you can't find a job, we'll find one for you. Instead of the state paying $60 a day for him laying in there, they ought to be paying $60 a day for that child laying in that house. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah. But thank you for your time, bro, man. I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Hey, what's your name?
Mike Gianfrido.
Speak up.
Mike Gianfrido.
Hey, how many felonies you have? One? And how has it been for you trying to look for employment?
Well, in the state of Nebraska, I mean, for one, you have like there's a tax credit for hiring felons, and y'all have a really low unemployment rate here, but I'm from Michigan, and if I was back in Michigan, it would be very difficult. I mean, it's legalized discrimination.
Right.
So it's really difficult. As a felon, you're pretty much excluded from 70% of the jobs right off the bat a lot of times. So.
Yeah, that's basically my campaign right now. I'm trying to get this, basically make awareness of this, because it's a very serious issue. It's a different kind of form of discrimination. It's like felon disfranchisement. Whereas I was just pointing out to the brother over there, like, we can't bear arms, and that's in the Constitution.
Right.
Like you said, certain licenses that we can't get. We can't be a barber in certain states. We can't even vote in certain states. I think Nebraska is one of them. Even as far as expungement, they only allow you to get expungement if you was found not guilty or acquitted. So it's like, what about those like you yourself that you probably don't owe parole? You owe parole?
Not yet.
What you want, work release right now? Right, but saying like once you finish parole, what about those as myself too? I don't owe nobody nothing. I got 3 felonies, and it's been very hard to keep a job. I just got laid off after doing the free taxes. When they come up with the free taxes, did a background check, extensive background check, and it came back. Then all of a sudden they said, well, you can't work here or you can't be around these clients. Well, I've been around them for 2 months already. If I was going to do something, it'd have been done. You know, but it's the thing is like, you know, where's the fair opportunity, the equal opportunity that other citizens, you know, have too. But can you give me some, like, a story about any hard times you have had getting employment?
As soon as I got my felony charge, I mean, you know, just looking on the internet, looking at jobs, you know, because that's mainly where all the job listings are now. They're not in, you know, the newspapers, they're on the internet. You know, I mean, it says right there, you know, must have a clean background check to be a janitor, to, you know, a lot of just simple jobs. And I mean, it's really not fair, you know. I mean, and I think it's a system of, you know, system that's trying to really convert the economy into a, you know, a security/prison economy. If you look around, I mean, they're trying to put people in prison as much as humanly possible. Even since, you know, since 9/11, what used to be just verbal assault, now all these people are in jail for saying something threatening, and it's become terrorism. You know, so it's, you know, I mean, if you look at the use of the Patriot Act, you know, the ACLU campaign, 90% of Patriot Act warrants are used against marijuana growers. You know, I mean, you know, a guy in a tie-dye T-shirt with a beard in California growing pot isn't Osama bin Laden. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, that a lot of laws and case laws had shot down the whole issue of felons being classified as a protected class. Like, you know how they're not supposed to discriminate against race, gender. People was trying to get the whole felon thing in that category as well, and they denied that. So my whole thing is, what is the legislative intent for keeping people's records and holding it against them? As you said, is this a big business? You know, because it doesn't just affect blacks. It's not just a racial thing. It's an economical, social thing. Because obviously, you know, it affects you too. You know, and most of like the prisons is being filled with more people that's already had crimes, like parolees and stuff like that. Because my whole thing is, you know, is they specifically targeting felons? You know, because like I said, the recidivism rate is at its highest because they keep taking the same people, and if they can't get a job, what else are they supposed to do? You know what I mean? So that's basically my whole thing right now, is getting out here, getting your story out there, and hopefully in the future they could pass a bill that kind of is like a forgiveness act. You know what I mean? You know, forgive me, please. I wanna. What if you wanted to be a cop? Right. I'm not saying you wanted to, but what if you wanted to? But the felony is holding you back from that. Right. You know what I mean? So anyway, what would you do if you didn't have a felony? What was your goals? Like, what would you want it to be?
Well, I ran for mayor of my city right before I violated my probation, and I mean, I think, you know, as a citizen, I can do everything I really want to do. I can, you know, I can help to change my government just by being active, you know, and
right.
You know, using the initiative petitions. Because at the local level, if you look at like people in the LGBT community, they use the city governments. I mean, they use the base of the republic to move forward new legislation to protect rights for them, you know, just like, you know, for us. I mean, we could pass it through city councils, you know, and I think a big thing is really making sure that the government hears our voice. Right now, I mean, I'm sure, you know, the city that I live in has 188,000 people, Grand Rapids, Michigan. We have one representative for every 33,000 people. They get paid $25,000 a year, and they work about 2 hours a month in 2 part-time sessions. That, you know, so the city council only meets twice a month. You know, the idea that I had was have one representative for every 3,000 people, so the people would actually be, you know, there full time and drop their wage to $100 a year. That way, you know, all the different points of view from society can be there full time anytime the government's in session. So when we have these types of grievances, we don't have to like just beat on the door, you know, begging for transparency, you know, as opposed to like having, you know, our neighborhoods running the government, you know, actually self-governing. And I think that's a big problem we have nowadays, because the federal government, when it was first created, was one representative for every 30,000 people. You know, and now if you look at that, our cities don't even reflect the apportionment of the initial construction of our federal government. So that's why we don't have transparency, is because the representatives are unresponsive. They're dominated by, you know, corporate special interest and big money, and they just don't have time to listen to the real citizen constituents as opposed to the money players. You know, and when you look at the, you know, the private, you know, prison industrial complex, the money that's made off of that, you know, I mean, they lobby the state legislatures to increase the, you know, punitive, you know, measures against certain crimes crime simply because they want to keep stocking people in prison because it's traded on Wall Street. You know, I mean, they're trading us on Wall Street. You know, and they're trading the potential to be able to like lock people more up. I mean, someone's profit is at stake about whether or not more people are locked up tomorrow or not. You know, and that's horrendous. You know.
Yeah, that just goes to show that knowledge that you have is not, you know, just limited to those who don't have felonies. So my whole thing is that it's a human thing.
Yeah, and it can be anybody. I mean, because as long as we leave the system there, it's going to continue to expand. You know, it needs to grow. I mean, that's the whole idea of a business is that it grows. And when you have a system like this, it's going to look for more and more felons. It's going to try and criminalize more and more behavior. And it's going to try and scoop up everybody again. So, I mean, when you look at, you look at the drug war, you look at the increase in like just marijuana arrests, petty marijuana arrests. You know, I mean, we have to end the war on drugs. You know, it's individual rights. I was always told that, you know, we grew up in a republic where majorities couldn't trump individual rights, and this is, you know, it's personal consumption. I thought that, you know, this should have been settled. You know, I mean, for one, the federal government doesn't even have the power to, you know, make anything illegal without a constitutional amendment. You know, so how can they do that? And you know, I mean, you know, it's consumption. You know, if I want to consume a substance, it's my body, it's my right, it's my choice. You know, I own me, and you can't tell me not to do that. If you want to say you want to protect persons under 21 or 18, that's all right. You know, I mean, we've set a precedent with that with, you know, regulation of tobacco and alcohol.
Right.
But I mean, as adults, you know, I mean, look, the prisons are just overloaded with people, you know, on drug charges, and you know, if we regulated it, at least we could like have a discussion about the chemical composition of, you know, heroin or coke or this or that. Try and regulate it and try and make it, you know, I mean, harm reduction. I thought that's what the whole strategy was harm reduction, and instead we're increasing the harm that's done to society by making these drugs illegal in the first place. So that way, if somebody gets robbed, they can't call the cops. So you know, the markets are dominated by people who are, you know, fully willing to engage in criminal activity. If not, they're already just organized crime from the first place. So I mean, there's nothing, you know, all it's doing is it's creating, you know, more, you know, motivation to engage in criminal behavior, to engage in theft. You know, I mean, it's hurting society. It's hurting our families. It's taking people away from their families. You know, I mean, people that drink, you know, that smoke cigarettes, they harm themselves all the time. You know, I mean, my dad just died of liver cancer. You know, I mean, and you know, they didn't try and stop that, and they shouldn't. You know, it's your right. It's your life. You know.
Yeah. That's interesting, man. A lot of stuff that you were saying. Some things I didn't really know about, but that's the point of this whole interview, is to make all that aware. You know, this is an issue. We are citizens, regardless of what they label us as: convicted felons, ex-felons, you know, ex-convicts, prisoners, whatever you want to call it. We still citizens, and we should be entitled to the privileges and the rights as everybody else. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.